welcome to our look at our top 10 tips for a stress-free embarkation day. We love to cruise, but there are some bits that we can often do without, and one of those is the stresses of embarkation day. When done right, and to give credit where it's due, it always has been the case when cruising out of the port of Southampton, and more times than not at other ports, you can arrive at the port, go through the check-in process and be on board your ship within half an hour to 45 minutes. Sadly, when it goes wrong, as it has done on occasion for us, it can be stressful from the moment you arrive to the moment you get on board the ship. Our worst example came in Seattle, when we would arrive at a dangerously chaotic terminal, including being forced to walk on a busy main road, and then being forced to queue over an hour for security staff to arrive. The building was old and incredibly hot, which led to some people feeling ill and one elderly gentleman collapsing, but our reward for the wait at security was a wait at check-in. Not much can save you from the stresses of such an unorganised and underfunded check-in process, but there are plenty of things that you can do to make a regular embarkation experience easier and hopefully stress-free, and that is just what we looked at this list. So if that sounds of interest to you, make sure you subscribe for more similar videos, and also leave a comment below and tell us your tips for avoiding the stresses of getting on board your ship. My name is Darren, and this is our top 10 tips for a stress-free embarkation day. This one is more to do with keeping the start of your holiday stress-free, but it does also help with finishing off the embarkation process. Some lines require you to book things on board and need you to set up your onboard account once on the ship, and if you have any last minute things to sort, you really need to know where to head. Your ship is often chaotic when you first head on board, as many are walking around without knowing where to go, staff are trying to sort things, and nobody's quite sure where to sit or head to. This is especially true if the weather isn't great, as everybody is inside the ship, but of course no one's able to go to their rooms yet. You can avoid lots of stress by knowing your ship before you board, so look at deck plans and also have an idea of where you want to head once you're on board. The final part of embarking your ship is often doing a muster drill once on board, but it is something that can prove to be stressful, especially if you don't know where you're going. Every line does it differently, and while some, such as Celebrity, make it incredibly easy and allow you to do it when you want during set times, others, such as MSC, seem to make it as difficult as possible, with up to 6,000 people all having to move around the ship at the same time. If you know where you are supposed to be and when, you can get the drill done and then get on with enjoying your holiday. Cruise ports can be easy to find your way around, and can even be just a short stroll from the city centre hotels you're staying in, while some can be spread out over miles and feature numerous terminals. Nothing can be more stressful than arriving in a city you don't know and going to the wrong terminal. It's often chaotic around the cruise port on turnaround days, so make sure you know exactly where you are going before you get there. In an ever increasingly digital world, the chances are that you will need your phone or tablet at some point during the embarkation process. From safety videos to scanning yourself into the terminal, and from boarding cards to email updates for any on-the-day changes, it all relies on you being able to access your device. Normally, that's not an issue, but if there are any delays along the way or you simply forgot to charge your device, and it does happen, having a power bank at hand to recharge your device could be a lifesaver. The final part of embarking for many cruisers is to run around the ship as soon as they get on board to try and book everything from dining to shows and from spa treatments to excursions. Not only is it time consuming to do that, they can often be stressful as the ship is chaotic during this period. You usually don't know your way around it too well, and everything often needs to be booked in a different place. Sadly, some lines require all passengers do this for some things, but the majority allow just about everything to be pre-booked, either via their website or their app, well in advance of embarkation day. This not only takes away all the stress from trying to do it when you're on board, but you can do it at your own pace, which can take away any errors. When it then comes to boarding your ship, you can simply relax and start to enjoy your holiday. Whilst we all expect the embarkation process to be straightforward, well organised, and perhaps most importantly quick, It's not always the case, and things can go wrong. That often leads to frustration, stress, and at the extreme level, some anger. But in the end, that only ever impacts your holiday negatively. The way we try to look at things is that the only thing we are trying to achieve at embarkation is to board a ship. So as long as that happens, we just keep relaxed and try to take anything else that happens in our stride. I'm sure that you will all know not to pack your travel documents and paperwork in your checked-in luggage, but we do see so many people at the cruise terminal struggle to find things such as booking confirmations and passports when they get to the check-in desk. With people queuing behind you, that often leads to you getting flustered and stressed out. We use an expanding file to organise our paperwork and keep everything easy to grab from one place. As mentioned, you can often feel rushed and flustered at the cruise terminal, especially when you first arrive, and hundreds of passengers are disembarking and thousands are embarking. So the last thing that you want to be doing is filling in paperwork. Most cruise lines allow you to complete the majority of it online and in your own time, so make sure that you take advantage of being able to do that and take away some of the stress from embarking your ship. Although this one may not be directly related to the embarkation process, it does take away some of the stress of it. At the majority of cruise terminals, you will hand over your luggage and not see it again until it's delivered to your room later that day. Sometimes, however, delays do occur, and you may not get it until later that night, so if you want to get changed for the evening meal and to enjoy your first night on board, you will not be able to. Sometimes, in the worst case scenario, you may not get your bags until the next day, so take away the stress of waiting for your bags before relaxing and enjoying yourself, and even from being left away in the same clothes 2 days running, by making sure you pack an overnight bag with a full change of clothes at least. My wife is not the greatest flyer, so it can be a stressful experience anyway, but if we add in the fact that knowing any sort of delay could see us miss our cruise, then that stress would likely ruin the holiday before we even got cruising. This is also true if you are driving a long distance to a cruise port, as any sort of accident or hold up on the road could see you miss your ship. We got to see this at first hand when flying up to Reykjavik for a cruise, when we were first delayed for 3 hours before having to wait for a second aircraft to arrive. We were flying up the day before, but many on the plane were setting sail that afternoon, and as the delay got longer and longer, their stress and worry got worse and worse. The majority of issues are out of your control, and that just adds to the stress. So take some control and give you a much calmer embarkation by heading to the cruise port location the day before, choose a close by hotel, and get to the embarkation port well rested and nice and early. So all that remains to be said is thank you so much for watching our top 10 tips for a stress-free embarkation day, and see you next time.